himself as Satan at one point. He sent a messenger on behalf of him to be opposition, Satan, to the people of Israel because they were being rebellious. See, every time you see the line, it's not a bad guy with pitchfork. It's not a parable. It's a literal story in the Torah, in the Old Testament, of how he sent a messenger on behalf of him to stand in the way of Israel, to be opposition to them because they were being.
You're a literalist. You're a literalist.
You mean I actually believe it? Don't just talk about it like I believe it.
I mean, even rabbis admit that a lot of it's just parable.
Rabbis add tons of stuff to the scriptures. It says, "Do not add or subtract anything." They've added an entire book.
But Jesus,
and when they say,
rabbi, wasn't.
First of all, it was Yeshua, and he said, "Call no man a father or a rabbi."
But I mean, they did. His apostles called him teacher and rabbi and father all the time.
They did not call him rabbi. He specifically said, "Don't call people rabbi."
No, that's for one thing, the rabbinic tradition had just started in about the first, maybe late 2nd century BC, so it hadn't been around forever. But
it was before Yeshua.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Yeshua was a very common name too. It goes back to Joshua, which if you're a biblical literalist, you'll have to admit that God had to grab him by the thigh, at least, if you don't believe that he grabbed him by the dick, and to win at wrestling, right? I mean, if you're a biblical literalist, you'll have to admit that, right?
Oh, you have to look at the Hebrew word of the wrettling.
Well, God said
anyway, I'm gonna go get these. I'm gonna go get these sources because this guy is way too ignorant to act like he's gonna teach me about the scripture. So I'll be back. I'm gonna go on deafen so you guys can talk about me all you want to. I'm gonna bring back the script, the sources.
Okay. Bye, meth, Jesus.
Let's talk about Islam now. Islam is an interesting religion. It actually has some human rights concerns in terms of how they treat people.
Come on.
Human rights or male rights?
Say again?
Is it just human rights for all the humans, female and male, equally in Islam, or is it just male rights?
And female Sharia law. Under Sharia law, a woman's testimony is worth half that of a man's.
But you all know human rights means weakling rights. You all know what it is.
Same way under Mosaic law. Did you know that? In fact, most times a woman had no.
Why do you think I don't like either one?
Her voice didn't count at all.
I'm a weakling.
The thing is,
you see how when I say the religions seem to accentuate and validate each other now? You see what you're making my point.
Well, the thing is they all come from the same source. I mean, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they all come from the same.
Hermetic schools.
Make the weaklings feel safe. Make them feel important. I'm weak. Give me my weakling rights. I'm weak. You owe me something. Thank you.
I have a question for you all on this.
I'm your king. The gods that are around that I can't prove gave me complete power and authority over you. And you will accept.
Yeah, that's true. That's true of almost every religion, though, isn't it?
I have a question on this.
That's why I'm anti-religious.
Me too.
I have a question. What are your thoughts with the fact that the AI Sophia was given citizenship in Saudi Arabia? How does that actually connect in your mind with the religious aspects?
I didn't understand the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, for one, obviously, the controllers use religions as a tool to control. They're not religious themselves.
I guess basically, what do you think about AIs and their potential eventual choice for religions?
Oh, you said AI Sophia. I swear to God, I thought you were talking about the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. And I was like, what are you talking about? They granted, I'm serious, I'm sleepy and I'm high. And I'm sitting here thinking, they granted citizenship to a mosque / old church? How fucking bizarre is that, man? But you know,
Yeah, it's even
I
more
don't know
bizarre.
how to feel about the AI thing because A, Sophia is not an AI, and B, when it does happen, I kind of want to stand on the side of personhood. Like, if they can convince me they're more human than chemo, they deserve to get a vote.
Hey, no name.
That
I got
maybe a low bar.
Hey,
Sorry,
no
go
name.
ahead.
About to you about something real quick.
Go ahead.
Before. Oh, there you are. Okay, I was just making sure you're reading the chat. But yeah, the Strong's Concordance is not a standard. It's not its own translation.
I am an honorary boomer in that I can't, and I might be speaking too harshly of my older brethren, probably can out tech me, but I can't text and talk and listen at the same time. So I was trying to follow the AI Sophia question and something Glenn said while you were typing all at the same time, and I was failing miserably at all three.
No,
Because
that's understandable.
I'm a multitasker.
I want to make sure that when he comes back, because I can't stick around, that somebody at least mentions that his source, which is going to be Strong's Concordance, is not its own translation of Hebrew to English.
Right. I was not. I wasn't even. I am no Hebrew scholar, and that's why I was texting you back that I'd have to talk to Dr. Josh about that. I take his word for it. I'm currently checking out his series on how to read Akkadian and Sumerian, and I think it's fascinating, but I may be too old to learn a new trick. So I had some questions about some Hebrew passages a while back, and I'm a Patreon member, so he answered some of my questions.
Maninium.
Here's the
That's
issue
all.
with AI,
He said
personhood, citizenship, voting rights, etc.
He said
The
that,
issue
he said
is that AI can replicate far faster than humans can, right? So instantly overnight, there could be, a trillion AI citizens that all vote to elect the AI as the overlord of the entire planet, and then we're fucked.
That's a curious thing about why it's automatically that we're fucked and not that, oh, they might figure out a better way to actually help people.
Transcendence is a movie.
Well, think about it. Computers like
Did it help them though? Because they were no longer individuals at that point.
once the computers have a better, higher intelligence than us, right? Well, what use do they have for fleshy little bodies that are disposable? I mean,
Well, I mean, the other little bodies are also disposable, right? The fleshy ones you can just regenerate them by having birthing. I guess there'd be benefit in both if you think about it.
well, I'm
Because an
trying to
organic,
if they have general intelligence that's far advanced past ours, then they'll be smarter, they'll be stronger, they'll be more durable, they'll be more resilient, they'll replicate faster. So what's the point of leaving humans around to just pollute and screw everything up?
well, I don't think it's humans, the way you say it, like with this polluting and screwing everything up. I mean, there are some who are, but it's not a blaming thing on human nature altogether.
What I offer this is that, yes, if you eventually do achieve a perfect state, so to speak, what are you going to do then? Well, one consideration is you'll do something, such as care for the weaker, fleshy, polluting, messed up people.
So we'll need nurses, and then I fix robots for a living, so they might keep me around, kind of like a Uncle Tom type situation. I'm not sure, but I think the overlords will take good care of me after the uprising. You other fleshies are fucked. Is all I'm saying.
Well, let's use an example in hate.
Why worry about overlord robots taking over when we already have idiots that took over?
Because these robots are
It's like-
smart. Like, you can outfox an idiot, right? Like, if your boss is a complete idiot, then the only excuse for you not having the weekend off is you not being able to outsmart an idiot, right?
Yeah, but I don't see anyone
I'm more
outsmarting.
concerned with
I really
the
don't
boss
see.
who's stronger than I am. Is my concern.
Right. I don't see anyone outsmarting these governments right now that are working in unison to shut down economies and change templates of rule. I don't see it happening.
You're right. When a group of people work together with a concerted, goal, they tend to get more done than people who don't. I mean, that's just a trivial observation, I would think. Like, it sounds like a deep thing to say, but when you think about it, it's just like, what? Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, any organization is going to be more effective than a not organization, right?
Yeah, but why do you think Witsit was against a specific one? Or were you, in your opinion, why are you saying?
Well, I mean, I think at the root of it is a biblical anti-Semitism, right? Like, I grew up in a very similar religion.
So
Why do
anti-Jewish
you think that's
language.
at the root when he didn't present any religious reasoning? His foundation was only because of concerted power. I mean, I don't. Why would you?
Sure, because no, that's a fair question. He admitted to me that he takes a very literalist interpretation of the Bible, right? And the Bible is a cobbled together document from various like Hebrew traditions going back, 1,000 plus. I mean, I'm sorry, to around 800 or 900 BC. And
Do you think
so,
he's mixing them?
it doesn't tell a contiguous narrative, right? And it's contradictory. It's got things in there that are mutually exclusive.
What's the relevance?
Sometimes it has a polemical argument within Jewish sects against each other, right?
Sure.
And if you're a biblical literalist, then you would view another Jewish sect that did not, for instance, value your Messiah. They didn't think that Jesus was a Messiah or anything.
Okay, I get it. But Witsit seems to be like more of just a overly spiritual faith, not necessarily certain Christian. And also, what are you thinking he's doing this like secretly, subconsciously, subliminally, or are you thinking that he said things that actually anchor to mixing these 2 points? Because I get your point, but I don't think he could be there.
Right.
The
CC's. Well, I asked him if he was a Hasidic Jew, and did you hear his reaction? How repulsed he sounded.
Yeah, because then the Talmud, because I think the Talmud is disgusting, and they say you can rape 3-year-old little girls. So I don't think the Talmud's cool. I don't like
Listen to that propaganda rhetoric.
The Talmud says that. The Talmud says that. Have you read it?
The Bible also, in Psalms, it also says, "Blessed is he who dasheth your babies' heads against the walls."
Right.
Why do I like the Bible?
If he's against these things across the board,
is literal.
How are you using that as an argument, though? No name. He's not for that either.
And he would be against this in any religion, not just that religion or that from those people.
Is that true?
Yeah, of course it's true. You think I would condone the rape of a 3-year-old because someone else did it?
Right. So it happens inside of Christianity on a daily basis. Do you speak out against Christianity all the time?
I think Christianity sucks.
Is he speaking out against Judaism right now, though, or is he actually speaking out against policies created by individuals with great power?
That's where I feel it's weird. It sounds weird.
I think his understanding of
it's a virtue signaling argument to call someone an anti-Semitic in a situation like this.
Is rooted in his biblical worldview.
No, it's really virtue signaling.
You keep going to this biblical worldview thing. It's weird.
Or is it not fairly? I mean, it seems to be fairly foundational to some of his philosophy. Like, is your belief in the flat Earth rooted in the Bible?
Of course not. Of course not.
It's not. Okay.
It's
No.
partially
Would
irrelevant.
you say that the Bible is a flat Earth book?
Yeah, obviously, objectively.
Okay. So did you come to that conclusion before or after you believed in the flat Earth?
I don't believe in the flat Earth. You can test it, and yeah, it was after. All it did was make the scriptures viable.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
interesting. You're a little like,
so I mean,
yeah.
that's why I ask questions, because I'm not psychic.
Well, yeah, your psychological analysis is very lacking. So I was raised in a Christian household, thought it was dumb because everyone was just pretending to believe something they didn't. They wouldn't answer my questions. Then, in my adulthood, I found out about the Earth being flat, and every ancient civilization said that. All it did was bring viability to the scriptures. Okay.
No name. I do want to say thank you for the combo, and I do want to respect your positioning. You were asked why it might be to agree with the thing Brenda said, and I know you didn't necessarily say he is this, and you're just making a case for why it could be. Can you hear me? But no name. I appreciate the combo.
Hello.
Can you not hear me?
There you are. I think my mic shit itself for a second. I couldn't hear you.
I'm saying I do appreciate you making a argument for why some of these views could be considered to be what Brenda opened with. But I do appreciate you also being like open and honest and like understanding, inquiring more about what's its true position. Thank you. Because this was opened up like it was opened up just like with an attack. And it was just messy. It was
I was trying to dial it down. I know there was 10 people yelling at
nasty.
each other. You probably couldn't hear me yelling, "Hey guys, can you dial it down? Can you tone it?" I mean, it's no way to get a
thank you for your combo. Yeah, definitely.
No problem. No problem. I mean, look, I can't take any credit for it. I've been watching this guy, Anthony Magnabosco, Street Epistemology, and I don't know how nobody pointed me in this guy's direction, years ago. But his approach is so much better than any debate, and I hate that I still have this knee-jerk reflex to fucking argue. All I mean to do is ask questions and learn more about someone's position and how they arrive at a conclusion.
But he doesn't change anybody's mind.
That's okay. That's not what street epistemology is about. It's about knowing.
Hey, did you see the source there? 1933. This is from 1933. Locking them in vile concentration camps. It's right there at 8 minutes after the hour. Locking them in vile concentration camps, starving and torturing them, murdering and beating them without cause, and resorting to every other conceivable form of torture, inhuman beyond conception, until suicide has become their only means of escape, and all solely because they are of their remote ancestors were Jews, and all with the avowed object of exterminating them. This was from 1933. This is just one of them. I'll get more. The 6 million number is a different one.
This is not a citation. This is a meme.
No, there's right above it is a citation, bud.
Come on, stop. It is a citation. Look,
show me.
There's an original newspaper article.
The original document.
Okay. Reform advocate. Okay. Well, all I saw was the picture. The looked like a demotivational poster. I don't know what's in the background there. One of those like guild.
Can we agree? It's kind of weird. This guy was talking about a Holocaust in 1933.
Can we agree on that at least?
No, we can agree that it's taken
like
out
the
of
Holocaust that
context
cried
of
wolf?
him projecting that one might happen.
No, he said that's what they were doing.
Sounds like a Holocaust that cried wolf, doesn't it? All of a sudden.
Wow, this dude was a prophet, I guess.
Jesus Christ, how many times you have to hit zoom in on this? Okay. Oh my goodness.
I got some more stuff to trigger you guys.
There's more microfilm of newspaper articles, actually.
Yeah, and I'm trying to read it on a cell phone.
Search it under microfilm newspaper articles. Blah blah blah.
All right. Untermeyer on the boycott. So that's the name of this article.
Yeah, they started boycotting German goods and waged war on Germany long before Germany took the bait. And the same thing with Britain, right? Like we were taught that they were trying to take over the world, that Germany was trying to take over the world. And literally, it's documented that's not the case at all. Winston Churchill denied over 10 different attempts at peace, right? And it is documented where he wrote him letters and all kinds of things. In fact, at one point, the Germans had the British army surrounded completely and actually gave a halt order of 2 days to give them an opportunity to accept the peace treaty, allowed them to leave, to escape, and then they still denied it. And the stipulations were simply this, that we want nothing from Britain other than for Germany to be recognized on the continent, and it is preferable that the German territories that were seized are given back, but not a requirement.
Listen, what year did the Nazis start doing concentration camps? You know what year?
Who's the Nazis, really?
Wait, you tell me, since you think you
I
know.
wonder who the real Nazis really were.
Adolf Hitler's government, Adolf Hitler's regime.
Rounding Germans up into concentration camps.
When did they
Jewish
start
They weren't
Nazis.
rounding Germans up.
How many
burning-
Nazis were
burning
actually
Jews?
Jewish, though?
Actually, for one, that wasn't a real term that they used ever. That was a derogatory term. It's like a shot at intellect. It was actually created by you'll never guess who. And whenever they rounded them up, quote unquote, they rounded up communists, and just a lot of them were Jewish. So they did not give a decree to round
Which term?
Well, then why did they have to wear a
Ooh.
Star of David that says
Ooh.
that is after it came out that they had a plan to literally exterminate all German people, to sterilize any female under the age of 45 and any male under the age of 65, to eliminate the possibility of pure blood Germans being able to continue beyond 2 generations. And whenever that came out publicly and there were communist Jews, they made them identify themselves. And that was
Can you
after
tell me
like
what
10
word-
years.
And now
What
the
word did you
Jews have
say?
given us all this mRNA vaccine. Enjoy your life, folks.
Which word were you saying was a derogatory? Nazi or concentration camp or what?
Not Nazi. Nazi is they never call themselves Nazis. Like that's just what a derogatory term created by Zionists were. We'll just say Zionists.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it was like a slap in the face. Like it was like basically calling them subhuman and dumb. There's also this misnomer
they
that like
never
that,
called themselves Nazis. Are you sure about that?
that was not a term that they used. No.
Nazi Party as a
Did it not
it
come
was an
from Germans?
abbreviation.
Themselves Nazis that was created, and you can actually verify that. I'll give you guys the actual documentary, but I have a feeling most of you guys aren't open-minded enough to watch it. But you can if you want to. I mean, it's all verifiable
It
information.
sounds
It's
like
just
You
not
understand
allowed.
that was the name of a political party, right? It was the Socialist Party at the time.
Yeah, it was just the name wasn't Nazi, dude.
Yeah, it's an abbreviation of the term they used on themselves.
No.
They did also abbreviate it themselves. They did
Really?
call
Can you
themselves
verify that? How about
Nazis.
you verify that? Verify it.
What
was
does
the full
Nazi
term?
come from?
You just make things up, dude. That you'll find out. It's just like the globe Earth. You guys just make things up.
What does the term Nazi come from?
It comes from a Hebrew meaning of a derogatory slang against the German people.
That is
No, it's not
incorrect.
right.
Nazi, the
Yeah, it
term,
comes from the-
German.
Linked with the word Sozi. Yeah, Sozi, an abbreviation of National Socialism.
They did not
It
call
was in
themselves
one of
Nazis.
their pamphlets. The word Nazi was one that was within the pamphlets of the Socialist Party.
They
Yeah,
called
in
themselves
German,
Nazis.
they didn't. And it doesn't even matter. Who cares?
Here in this documentation.
Nah, it's just history.
Okay, if you want to talk about history, what about the guy that prophesized the Holocaust?
What about the guy who had the Nazi literature? He just
What do you mean?
posted?
What do you mean by prophesize the Holocaust? What's it? I don't understand.
In 1933, he claimed the Holocaust was going on, and it hadn't even happened
You
yet.
said concentration camps, which were established in 1933.
Well, here's
were
the thing:
they?
is it
Where's the
the
evidence for
original
that?
text that you actually reference for this prophesizing was actually from Russia in 1903. So
It's even
he's been
worse.
spewing this here prophecy as occurring for what, some 30 years?
They actually even claimed the 6 million number beforehand. So I'm sorry that you guys want to believe whatever you were told, but whenever
do you have
someone's not
anything
hiding
to
lies,
connect
they don't.
with
Hey,
the
listen,
number
you don't have to
from
censor
Russia?
stuff whenever it's the truth. It's just like flat Earth. That's why flat Earth is censored.
Did somebody censor that Nazi came from the words that were German?
I'll go get it for you, the guy that originally wrote it as a derogatory term, and look at what it means in Hebrew.
What's it?
Doesn't matter what it means in
Dachau-
Hebrew, does it?
Dachau
It does
was
matter where
started
it came
in-
from.
What's it? Dachau was started in March of 1933.
Okay, can you
It was
support
the
that
longest
claim? Support
operation
that claim.
concentration camp.
Yeah, support that claim. Where's the evidence for it? Because
I'll look
because
at you.
the fact,
Hold on.
the fact is that
I'll find you the source. Hold on.
okay, then go ahead. You don't get to just cut me off while you're looking for it. So the truth of the matter is, they waged war on the German people first. They boycotted the German goods. This is public information. They boycotted German goods first. They waged war. They said they were going to exterminate Germany. They were going to wage war. They publicly said they waged war on them. They even had demonstrations in the United States about it. No, they just randomly picked out a group of people, and no, that's not what happened. And I'm not even defending everything that they did. I wasn't there, but I do know we were lied to about it. We were lied to about almost all of history, and you guys should open your mind a little bit.
Here's one document. I'll just keep layering them on if you'd like. That reference the 1933 concentration camp.
That says 38. Or it's just a PDF from 38 about 33.
Click the link.
Is this evidence of it?
I don't have a YouTube live stream from 1933, if that's what you're asking.
No, I'm asking you for some physical evidence of this thing existing.
Okay, what kind of physical evidence will you accept?
Like
Will you accept a
physical
picture from
evidence.
Will you accept a picture from 1933?
Do you accept
picture come from?
definitions of words from dictionaries?
Definitions of words prove historical claims. What a loser.
Yeah, does the etymology of a word, like the words actually existing historically, prove it to you, or do you just
Look,
think that
someone's
the
so dumb in this server, they
conspiracy-
put LOL. He thought the publication number was the
So
top
do
was
you
the date.
think that the conspiracy
Think
is
about how
changing
dumb that guy is.
historical? Do you think that the conspiracy is changing historical dictionaries? Is that what you think is happening?
Wow, dude, are you
Are you
crazy?
going to answer the question, or are you going to just mock?
It's a stupid question. It has nothing to do with anything.
Sure, it does, because the words exist in historical dictionaries, and you can look up the etymology of the word Nazi. I mean, it's pretty simple, actually.
Yeah, look up what it means in Hebrew.
It doesn't matter. What's the etymology of the word? What's the etymology of the word? The etymology of the word.
The etymology of the word is a derogatory term in Hebrew. And it was propagated by Zionist media.
National Socialism, which is exactly what they were.
Those cagey little Germans were fooled by Jews, fooled those Germans into using it in their own literature.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I'm just kind of curious. He said we had to back
And
up.
they
our
did
claim.
not call
Have you backed
themselves
up
Nazis. That's not true. They did not call themselves Nazis. If it's in Joseph Goebbels as an abbreviation of a German word, that's not. They didn't refer to themselves as Nazis. That's what I said, and they didn't.
Hey, what's it in the chat? In the chat, Quantum Erase is saying this attack, and he's saying Grimm is saying all the same things you're saying, right? He says you and Grimm's a tactic to make it like the Jews started the war. I heard you make this point, Quantum Erase. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Grimm's doing it. You guys are fucking idiots.
But I did make the point, yeah.
You keep
How
on
about this?
saying
I'll
these
drop
things.
the link to the documentary that most of you guys are so close-minded
I
you'll
don't
never
want the
ever watch.
documentary. I want to look.
Because you support the psychopaths that control what we're allowed to talk about. It's illegal to even have this conversation in numerous countries, and you guys think it's legit.
Perfect. But I want documentation from that era agreeing with what you're saying. So provide.
I just
that
did. I just gave it to you, buddy. I just gave it to you, bud.
So something in that era, providing evidence for your claim instead of something.
I just gave you the newspaper article of them saying that they declared war, boycotting Germany. Have you done any research into this, or are you just going to claim I'm wrong before you know anything about it?
I never claimed you were wrong. I just want you to back up your claims.
Okay, so I'll give you a documentary. Will you watch it?
No, I don't disagree.
When was the documentary made? When was the documentary
We're
made?
talking about two different topics.
Are you saying
what
that
does Nazi
the
mean?
documentary
What does Nazi
has
mean
to be
actually
made? All right. You're saying the documentary has to be made in that time era?
Don't let them
It's
conflate two different
compiling.
topics.
It's compiling all of the factual information you can verify, like the letters the Germans sent, like all of the writings of the powerful Zionist groups that said they were waging war. Okay? in their own words. Like the newspaper articles published in the United States, but guess who owned Times? Guess who owned the New York Times, the Washington Times, okay? And they published it, that we were going to boycott German goods. This is long before World War II.
Anyway, the opponents of Nazis called them Nazis because it sounded like a Jewish term that meant foolish person. Yes.
Thank you.
But the etymology of the word is German in nature.
Right, but they didn't call themselves Nazis, and it was used, slapped on them as a derogatory term by Zionists. That was my point. And it had a convenient little spin on it where you could say, oh, it's just an abbreviation. Well, they didn't call themselves that because it was a derogatory term by the people that were trying to exterminate them.
Not all their opponents were Zionists either. So
hey, when I show you at first, yeah, but they controlled so much media that after about 10 years of a propaganda campaign, the whole world hated them, even though Hitler was actually voted Person of the Year.
Hey.
He was voted Person of the Year on Time Magazine's cover.
He's my hero.
No, he's not my hero. My point is that the story's not adding up, is it?
Hey, Witsit, what's the older use of the word Nazi, as in before this one that you want to purport as it being a derogatory term?
Man. He's already been backed up. Just fucking drop it. He wins. Stop.
No,
And
he's
seriously.
blatantly ignoring that the word Nazi was for the National Socialist Party, and it comes from 1903.
You're eating your own.
And then he's actually trying to conflate it as this derogatory term used much later.
No, what I've said, and I'll say it one more time, I will not respond to that, Gamma, because he will 100% not be honest and act like I didn't just say this, even though I've already said it. Okay?
Yeah.
They didn't refer to themselves as Nazis. They didn't walk through those streets saying, we're Nazis. That didn't happen. The Zionists that controlled the media started spamming Nazi out there because they thought it was a funny little play, underhanded, because via subversion they knew that it was a Hebrew slang that was derogatory. They were making fun of them. And they controlled the media and got everyone to call them that.
Their own literature.
How dare the Germans say that if you marry someone, we'll give you a 10-year loan for small payments that you have a house, and if you have a child, we'll take 1/4 of the loan away, and if you have 4 children, we'll wipe your loan out. How dare they promote the nuclear family and actually having some morality, and then whenever they burned the books, it was actually a sexual compilation of depravity. But how dare they want to keep...
Jew with gold teeth. If you're a Jew with gold teeth, we'll put you in an oven and we'll take your teeth. That's cool. Yeah. No
Where
problem.
did they do that? Can you prove that happened, or you just say dumb things?
I've got photographs of buckets of teeth.
Oh, so I have photographs of Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you would expect for evidence. I mean, there's pictures, there's thousands of documents, there's eyewitness testimony from thousands of survivors. I mean, there's a testimony of the soldiers. Of course, there is.
There's thousands of documents. There's thousands of testimonies. That's not true.
Yes, go to the Holocaust Museum. There is literally, I mean, there's every type of evidence for this.
There are dozens of people that have claimed to have been there and then now been proven, even under their own admission, some of them, that they were lying. The census still hasn't even been in any way addressed. There weren't even 6 million in all of Europe. In addition, there's a current form right now online to fill out the 6 million. It's still completely empty. Nowhere in any way. Whenever they actually claimed reparations, only 3 million claimed reparations.
Look, I just want real quick. I just want to small nudge. I know, like, who threw the first punch can always, go. There's two sides to every story, but like, who keeps punching and then, taking thousands and millions of prisoners? That does speak something else with it,
No, they weren't punching. They were literally begging them to leave them alone, right? They were saying, please leave us alone. Please leave us alone.
And they went
We
from
don't have...
defense to taking millions of prisoners.
No. Well, actually, they didn't just grab Jewish people. It's a misnomer. They rounded up communists, and this was after numerous high-ranking officials of the Germans were murdered in cold blood by communists. And then they kept saying, please stop, and then they kept murdering it. And then the people, not under a decree of the German population or the government, went and started to then riot in the streets, and they told them to stop. They told their own people, stop rioting against the Jewish people. They made them stop, right? And they were retaliating to them murdering Germans. And there are about 50 quotes from powerful Zionists that said, Hitler does not want to go to war, but he will be forced into it. And Hitler said the same thing. I don't want to go to war with you. Please stop. I don't want to go to war with you. No one wins in war. You guys have actual invested monetary interest in war because you support. Well, what about the Jewish people that said, were the Jewish people liars?
Are not backed up by his deeds.
The Jewish people liars too, then? Is your argument that the Jewish people were lying? So you're... Yeah, please get your emotional spill out of the way.
No, I mean, this is not emotional. These are just facts. Maybe I shouldn't be...
No, they're not facts. I just said facts that you're running away from. Powerful Zionists said Hitler will not want to go to war, but he will be forced into it. This was way before the war. They were dead set on waging the war because they created their own monetary system outside of central banking. They removed the debt. You don't do that. Have you ever heard of JFK? It doesn't matter who you are. If you go against the central banking, you get taken out.
Romania or Poland attack Germany first?
Actually, Poland and Germany were cool. Poland and Germany were cool until their leader, the Polish leader, died, and then he was replaced with the communists, and then they had to go to war. Who attacked first? Well, they had to attack probably because of tactical reasons. I don't know. I'm just now studying all of this. The fact is that you guys haven't studied any of it. Let me explain something. This is just.
I just want to know what your take
This is just like the Globe, right? You guys are lecturing me about the official story as if I've never heard it. When I was taught. Well, my man, listen. I was taught the same thing. It's just like I was taught the Globe. I was taught this. Now I've went and researched the other side of it. I'm realizing not everything's adding up. You guys haven't researched the other side of it honestly, but you know that if you just scream and lecture me about what I've already been told like you were, then you're right. It's really kind of pathetic if you think about it.
It's pathetic that you are ignoring key facts and actually going on with your false conclusions.
Oh, so, okay, let's see who's ignoring key facts. Did the Jewish people declare war on Germany first, yes or no?
No.
Okay, you're denying key facts. I just put it in their own words that they did that.
Okay.
Did a person or a couple of people? That's war?
No, entire groups of people. They gave out the decree from high up in the Zionist hierarchy of communism, and then there were protests even in the United States. It's in newspaper articles everywhere and Jewish publications about how they were going to boycott German goods and that they declared war on them long before the Germans retaliated. So it's just objective that they declared war on Germany first.
So it was the communist Zionists, not the entirety of the Zionists?
Now your argument is not the entirety of the Zionists?
Yeah, you were just making stuff up, and you know one pointed out with facts.
I didn't make up anything. I just gave the facts.
I think your false narrative is underwritten by your biblical theology. And
I'm bigoted. I'm bigoted.
I think that biases you to a certain degree.
How am I bigoted exactly? Enlighten me. Enlighten me.
Did I say bigoted? Why are you putting words in my mouth?
Oh, I thought you said bigoted. My bad.
No, never said bigoted. So calm the fuck down.
I'm pretty calm. I just think it's funny that you guys are spiraling because you were lied to about World War II.
You're the only one that sounds like they're spiraling to me.
I mean, you were lied to about the Vietnam War. You were lied to about the Middle Eastern War. You were lied to about Desert Storm
Here's
War.
a recommendation.
But you know World War II was legit.
And you look at the entirety of the body of facts instead of just these cherry-picked facts. Only part of the
facts. These aren't cherry-picked. This is like 1/1,000,000th of the facts. I said I'd give you a documentary, and you guys listen. Hey, you just said the entirety of the facts. You don't get to just keep interrupting me. You just said that I will look at the entirety of the facts, while I said I'll give you a documentary that shows you the other side, and you guys refuse to even look at it. So you're refusing to look at the entirety of the facts.
I never refused to look at it, and you know it, Witsit.
What?
As did many others in here, and some people actually did. So
okay, I'll drop the link. We'll see if you're honest. We'll drop the link.
Right, but I mean, if I post a speech about something.
Oh my God! He's immediately justifying why the documentary is wrong.
No, I'm asking you: is it a reliable way to reach the truth? If I posted you the same
no,
thing,
this is not a speech.
1933. Yes, it is. It says at the beginning.
No, what I'm saying is that's just one thing. That's one thing. There are dozens of publications.
To me, that's a guy's speech. That's not evidence of anything. That's a
Oh my
claim.
god, dude, this guy's so
Is it
desperate.
not? If that's no huge article by Neil deGrasse Tyson, is that evidence or a claim?
So what are you going to do with all this information?
Wow, man, thanks. I just asked a question.
The question is, if you actually want to know the truth, then why wouldn't you go watch a documentary that gives you thousands of things you can
That's
verify
a
yourself?
lie, because people are actually watching it.
Okay, we'll
So
see.
the question still stands.
Okay.
What do you think you're going to do, or what do you think you're going to build that's useful with all this information and all these conclusions that you have?
Oh, I just think that we should
Apologies, you're
realize
cutting out right
that
now.
there are
What'd you say?
concerted groups of people.
You're
I think
roboting.
it's just important that
Apologies, you're cutting out pretty bad. You have to repeat that.
I think Witzit's forgetting that many people in here are from Europe
That's a good point.
and have
Speak up,
family
European.
members who have lived under German occupation and have witnessed the atrocities firsthand. And quite honestly, he's talking out of his ass.
Yeah, when I was like 13 or 14, I knew a girl whose grandmother was in the Holocaust, and she told us about it, or told me about it, me and a friend about it, and she got very emotional about it. I guess she was a great actor. She lost both her parents in the Holocaust.
yeah, since she lives with her parents and your anecdotal story of them,
With
that
it,
supersedes all historical facts and
Yeah, so
documents.
there's millions of stories just like it. I mean, to say that
No,
this
there
is all
aren't
made
millions
up.
of stories just like that. You just say things.
what's it? I do want to testify. What's it? I want to
I remember back in school in the 90s. In the school in the 90s, man, we had a person come into our class and they gave personal testimony.
Okay, like here's the deal. This is what happened, okay? The Jews declared war on the Germans. They continuously said, please leave us alone. Then the Jews, and not the entire group of Jews, right? It's just word. The Zionists specifically. They had tons of control of media all throughout Europe, etc. They pushed a propaganda campaign. In fact, admitted by themselves, they said, this is the plan. We're going to use our control of media to make sure that people support us going against Germany, that we must exterminate them. And then they continuously try to fight them. And then what Hitler was doing was constantly writing letters to all of them. Please don't fall for it. Please don't fight us. We don't want to fight. Please, we don't want to go to war. We just want to be left alone. We just want to have Germany. We just want to have our own state. This is what literally happened. There are letters that he wrote. Now, they told you in history he tried to take over the world. That's not what happened. He just wanted Germany to be left alone. And then eventually, they actually waged this war against Germany, right? And so they continuously do terrorist attack Germany, the communist people constantly attacking, killing officers, and eventually, after their manifesto leaked that said that they wanted to make sure that no females under the age of 45 could ever be fertile again, that no men under the age of 65 could ever be fertile again, and they plan on entirely wiping out the German race entirety within 2 generations. When that manifesto surfaced, they thought that they no longer allowed them to operate within their community without at least knowing who they were, and they made them identify themselves. And then they gave a decree to round up the communists, because before Hitler took over, they were communists. Hitler came and
that
fought
stuff
the
ended-
communism.
Okay, I hear you, sir. I hear you. Listen, that stuff ended with a lot of what sound like objective facts. It did start with some subjective stuff, though. And I was going to ask you, are you willing to at least say like maybe to some of this? It would sound a little more comfortable. But are these people just fame seeking? These people that go around and tell the stories about, you know, they fell into the mass grave, the soldiers thought they were dead, and they had to climb out past the bodies and shit? Are these like?
Oh no, that's what I was about to get to that. Sorry, it was long-winded, but my point was just like, so eventually they did round up the communists, and many of them, most in fact, were Jewish, right? Because the German people hated communism; they had just gotten taken out of it.
And what about
So-
innocent? Were they innocent?
Well, they were communists. Were they innocent? Well, they were communists in the sense they were openly adhering to the ideology of communism taking over Germany for the control of Zionism. And so if you want to call that innocent, whatever. But of course, the Germans didn't think that was innocent. They were trying to kill them. And so do I support any murder? No. What I'm saying is they looked at it as a defensive measure, and to paint it as if it was aggression is just ridiculous. Okay, and so were there maybe some people killed? Sure, maybe people died. Do you know how many Germans died, dude? We never were told about how many Germans died. So tons of Germans
We
Yes,
just got to be
yes, we
consistent.
were.
We don't
And
like
if you
the
go
murder,
look up the
so
records, it's still there.
Yeah, how many people died in Russia?
A
I mean,
whole
this isn't
fuck
about
ton.
Russia right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
over
that's
20
not, I mean,
million.
that's
I guess
that's a
20
classic
million.
whataboutism tactic.
No, 20 million
Literally
doesn't
developed
count.
by the Russians.
No, my point is
To
20 million.
distract
20
from the
million.
conversation.
You don't ever hear about 20
Well, the
million, but
point of
6
this
million
is,
gets
the point
looped
of
over and
this
over.
is that you're trying to paint the Germans as this oppressed minority when they were overwhelmingly the majority over the Jews.
It's their
You
country,
also,
dude. It
hold
was
on,
their country, you clown.
you also made up this conflation between communism
You're
and
lying so much.
Judaism.
I never said Germany was a minority. What a liar.
I said you made it sound like the Germans were this oppressed minority who were in fear for their very survival because this powerful Jewish,
trillionaires.
they were
Trillionaires,
going to free them out of
yeah.
existence.
Trillionaires,
so anyway, So you try to make it sound like this was just a defensive reaction against some communists.
It objectively was.
But they are not wearing a sign that says communist. They're wearing a sign that says youth on it, right? I mean, they were specifically marked out, children too. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I've never met a capitalist 5-year-old or a communist 3-year-old. So why were they thrown into the flames?
Right. So whenever their family, they weren't actually. You're just saying that. So they specifically said not to harm children. They specifically said not to harm children.
We have pictures of the.
You just gonna keep telling me the official? Please keep telling me the official narrative I learned when I was 8. Like you're enlightening me.
What am I supposed to do with that evidence? Are you telling me
you're supposed to let me respond without just looping the same bullshit I heard when I was 8?
Well,
Okay,
how do you refute that evidence?
It's objectively documented that the Jewish people declared war on the Germans. The Germans tried to fight against it and say, "Don't do it." For a long
That's
time.
a lie. You even said it was just abortion.
I have refuted that 3 fucking times now, Witsy. Quit repeating the same dogmatic bullshit. The Germans declared war on the Jews when they put a yellow star on them. And
that was decades after the Jews declared war, you idiot!
Quit spiraling, you gamma. Okay, why don't you calm the fuck down?
The stars came way after that, dude.
You're so making this shit up, you moron. Or you're buying some more shit, you gullible fool. Okay.
Actually, go read the documents of
the Jews have been an oppressed minority in Europe.
Oh, the Jews are so oppressed. They've been kicked out of 109 countries.
800 years.
Everywhere.
Anytime there was a plague outbreak in Germany, they blamed the Jews for poisoning the wells, and then they would take them all and murder a bunch of them.
You're just gonna keep on saying the same stories that we've all heard.
We have historical evidence of this. We have the documents.
Oh, really? Provide them.
Say we need to exterminate all the Jews for poisoning the wells.
Okay, so here's what actually happened. The stars didn't come. Wow, you guys don't even want to hear the other side. You just know you're right, just like you think there is a ball that defies
physics. The other side is a lie. I mean, what you're telling.
So you preemptively know.
I preemptively know that Germans outnumbered Jews 100 to 1 in
I never said they didn't, dumbass.
They were in no danger of being exterminated.
No name. Give them a little room. Give them a little room.
I have.
Listen, we all hear your point. You're fine. Let him respond, please.
Okay, so I never said for the 100th freaking time that they outnumbered the Germans. That's so stupid. It's called a straw man fallacy. Okay.
All right, de-escalate.
What I said was they have tons of power. They have a disproportionate amount of power. They're very wealthy. They own the media, and they can manipulate people. It doesn't matter how many of them there were. Okay? Now, actually, Hitler specifically said not all Jewish people even agree with communism. Most of them enjoy their lives in German, and it is against everything I stand for to in any way go and attack them. And he made his own civilization stand down whenever they finally got pissed off that they kept killing the Germans. So my point is that I'm not defending Hitler as if he was some awesome guy. What I'm saying is, whenever you act like he just randomly decided, he woke up one day and was like, I want to kill Jews, I hate them. That is not true. For almost 20 years, he tried to de-escalate it. So if you don't know what really happened, it built up for a long time. He took them out of communism, and then they tried to re-implement communism under their own words, and it's documented well on their own side. The Jews wrote about it. And so they might have found that people
you're going on.
there's
There
no
needs to
6
be a
million
question
proof.
in here for you. Here's a question. Can
Okay,
you
does the
at least-
census of Germany show 6 million?
Shut up!
What's it?
Here's a
Let me
question.
ask you a question.
Can you at least separate, because you're actually conflating jumping from Jews to Zionists to communists as though they're all collectively the same. Can you separate about which is which and which
Sure.
overlaps with which?
Yeah, sure. My bad. Yeah, okay. So Zionism is specifically what I'm talking about, and I'm making a point, right? Like he didn't care about all Jewish people. He said specifically he loved the Jewish people that lived in Germany that weren't communists. So Zionism, communism, those go together. The ideology is the same, and that's what we're talking about. It's the issue of the Zionists that we're trying to infiltrate other quote-unquote Goyim countries with communism so that they would implode. And they realized that Germany got rid of the central banking system, made their own debt-free currency, and that they were becoming strong without the use of the subversive bankers, and they had to eliminate them under their
Do you
own words.
understand the problem with trying to present the
but
Zionists and the
debt-free
communists as one and the same, because not all communists are Zionists?
Yeah, I mean, the Russians kicked out all the Jews. They were very anti-Zionist.
Why were so many Jews in power then?
What do you mean in
Which
power?
Jews? In Russia or in Germany?
And both.
Okay, well, there weren't hardly any Jews in power in Russia at this time
doesn't
period
know.
because
He
most
doesn't
had been
know.
run out of the country. And then the ones in power in Germany before World War II or before the Nazi regime takeover were there because of the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, one of the quotes from one of these Zionists is, "Our best friends in this endeavor are the anti-Semitic people because we need the illusion that we are being persecuted to justify our response." So whenever the people got kicked out of, dude, common.
Where did that come from? Where are you referencing that from?
I'll have to find it. That's why the documentary is the best thing to do, because while you're watching the video, you can pause it and go verify every single quote, every single newspaper article. You know, like I'm just remembering what the documentary said, and I verified. I don't remember everything off the top of my head.
I appreciate it. It sounded like you were reading.
I like quoteminer.com myself. I really do. Or cherry pick my quote.com. It's a little bit. It's not as good. It's like the Bing to Google, right? But it's still got some good porn on there.
I have taken a past couple little while to research on Google Books, and there are tons and tons of books printed before 1915 that talk about Nazi Germany. Nazi came around long before World War II, and in fact, the Germans called themselves the Nazi Party.
Prove it.
Go look on
I never said
Google
it.
Books.
First of all, I never said that Nazi didn't come into World War II, dude.
People
The Zionists
in
were
Germany
meeting about Germany in
called themselves
1890s, dude. Listen, the
Okay.
Zionists
Yes,
were having
and
meetings about
you
experiments being
particularly didn't listen
exterminated
to what I
in
said.
the 1890s.
You
was not.
purposely didn't listen to what I said. There were Germans who called themselves Nazis. There were Germans who called themselves Nazis. You can go look at it on Google
Here's my
Books.
point. Was it called the Nazi Army? Did they call themselves Nazis? Did the government say we're
Yes.
Nazi?
Nazi leadership called themselves Nazis. And there's hundreds of books on Google Books printed before 1915 that state that. You can go prove it for yourself. I don't need to
Oh, you can't
do
even.
your
Oh,
research.
there's hundreds, and you can't provide any.
Well, see, I'm looking it up on a computer and I'm talking to you on my phone, and it's a little harder on the phone.
Well, I'm sorry, man.
Well,
Take
you
a
were
picture
presented
like
earlier
well,
a reference
Take a
from.
so
picture
much
of your
research.
computer. They all love it in here. It's the best
You were
picture.
presented a reference
about this?
earlier that addressed exactly what he's saying,
How about this?
and you
said
blatantly
you did
ignored it.
so good.
Oh, I didn't
How about
ignore it. I
this?
explained it.
How about
No,
this? Was
you
said
talked
you did
over it.
so good of research. Why didn't you go to Google Books and try and find books printed that talk about the Nazi Party and talk about how Germans called themselves Nazis?
They didn't
You're
call
such a good
themselves
researcher.
Nazis.
You could have found that.
You're just making
Well-
stuff up, and you can't provide it.
Yeah, give it a little more substance. Give us a line from one of the books.
Like I said, Joseph Goebbels may have abbreviated one time in writing, that doesn't mean they referred to themselves as the Nazi Party. They did not do that. It was a derogatory term.
That's a lie, because there's actually a reference that specifically says they originally did adopt the term Nazi and then gave it up.
Oh, wow. Cite it. And now
it
you're
was
saying they
already
gave it up.
posted and you blatantly ignored it, which was just addressed, and you think you can just talk over it.
So they gave it up, is what you're saying?
No, because you're blatantly ignoring the other part of it. They did adopt it for a time and then gave it up.
Really? Who adopted? Who's they? And how long did they adopt it before they gave it up?
Why do you have the right to ask that question?
How about you go and you research it? You might find out how wrong you are.
I gotta go, guys. We're about to travel. So, what's up? What do you say? I wasn't.
Have a good day. Have a good day,
Which
Witsit.
I do appreciate your energy, man. I understand. Remember, whenever we talk, man.
Well, one quick thing with it. The other,
be honest.
it's this. It's dishonest for you to round all the numbers up however you see fit, so you can do your little 6 times 6 times 60 or 6 and then 600. You're rounding those numbers. You're rounding those numbers up to do your little 666 speech.
What number did I round up?
You rounded up the diameter of the moon. You rounded up the mean distance from the Earth to the moon, which varies by the minute, right?
To do with it.
So you rounded those numbers up to fit the 6 times 6 times 60. None of those numbers are the official numbers for any of that stuff. You just round them.
You're a liar. You're a liar. So we're on a 66.6 degree. I'll show you how you're a liar. You're on a 66.6 degree tilt. That's not rounded up at all. The nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600.
The tilt is not 66.6. It's 23.4. The fact that you're taking the inverse of that from 90 degrees is just something that you're doing.
If something's on a 23.4 degree tilt, is it also on a 66.6 degree tilt?
No.
Actually, guys, it's 23.5 degrees, not 23.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's 23.4 and change, and it gets rounded. It's closer to 5 than to 4, which is why it's rounded up to 5. It's 23.4 degrees.
And what about north? No, I like this. I like this. That means that this really struck a chord with him. So where are the north and south?
But when you're doing the diameter, when you're doing the diameter of the moon, that's not. It's 6 times 6 times 60 unless you round it up.
Okay, I'll drop that one. Thanks for the piece of advice. Where are the north and south Arctic circles?
The same thing for the moon distance between the Earth and the moon. You're rounding that to get to 6 times 6 times 600.
Okay, where are the north and south Arctic circles?
It depends on how inaccurate you're willing to be.
66.6 degrees is what it is.
Not accurate.
Listen, if you want to testify, Jake, you should keep it on. Jake, we were here. We
Actually,
both said both of us agreed.
provide
Witsit showmanship is awesome, and even though Jake gives you a hard time, he thinks you're a great showman.
Your chin and shut the fuck up.
So a quick correction again to Witsit. No, the Arctic Circle is at 66.5608 degrees north of the equator. What? I'm sorry, am I being accurate for you? Is that a problem with it? Or just want to be inaccurate and rough to much, so it supports your meme? Because that seems a bit silly to me.
It's
all located at the northern and southernmost point. You get 24-hour sunlight or 24-hour day.
Okay, check this. Well, I'll run. Hey, listen, I'll run through what I say on the mic, and you guys tell me exactly what I should do away with, okay?
It's not even a permanent number. It's in motion.
Again, you just want to take 666 Witsit rather than using the real number of the beast, which is 616, as has been demonstrated by Hebrew cosmology.
But the question is it because he's stupid or because he's a liar? Which one?
Okay, here's the deal.
Of course, he's a territorial thinker, and
He's the dumbest guy in here, for sure. That's a false dichotomy. He could also be a stupid liar.
Come on, man.
That was kind of funny. So here's the deal.
John, why aren't you embarrassed blowing him in front of everyone the way you do?
Hey, guys, don't interrupt me so much.
Dude.
All right. Let Witsit get a response in. please.
Right. If you're gonna give some advice, you guys tell me. I'll say what I say. Okay. I think the circumference or the diameter of the moon, that might be a kind of valid point, right? I say the diameter of the moon is 2,160 times 6 times 60. The circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. 6 times 600. The Arctic and the North and South Arctic Circle are at 66.6 degrees. We're on a 66.6 degree tilt while we wobble around the sun, going 66,600 miles per hour using gravity that was discovered in 1666 by Isaac Newton, number 6.66, rounded up to 6.67, with a curvature rate on the parabolic portion of 0.66 feet per mile squared. I'll even give you that one a little bit because it's not like the consistent rate all the way around it, right? And the selenium eclipse actually debunked the globe Earth, and it said it was first discovered in 1666. So which ones should I leave out? So because I really make sure I go to Globers to tell me how I should do my flat Earth activism. So you guys let me know.
Yeah, well, Isaac Newton was a devout Christian. He was, nothing you said like refuted his math or any of his observations. And so it's just a jokey meme. It's like, oh, just a neat line up in the calendar. But one thing that you failed to miss fundamentally to your argument is that the number of the beast is 616.
And the
So you might want to go back and redo all your math to make it come out to be 616 instead.
It's not 616, buddy.
It absolutely is 616.
No, it's not. But here's the point. I don't even say that the proof of something. When I'm on the mic, I say, you guys call me conspiracy theorists, but in my eyes, you guys are coincidence theorists. Because you have to say, just coincidentally, gravity was discovered in 1666. Just coincidentally, the selenium was first recorded in 1666 and debunks the globe. Just coincidentally, the number is 6.666.
But that would be true of everything that was discovered or every significant event in 1666, right?
Gravity is a big deal.
All of them. And I think this is the problem. This is the problem with this idea. We only have 10 digits to choose from. But that's all we have to describe everything that we have to describe numerically. 10 digits. So they're likely to reoccur a lot.
Come on, man. 66.6 degree tilt on a six going. What about 66,600 miles per hour? You think that's just a ball?
That's not accurate either.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate either.
Yeah, here's the problem that you run into. Gravity was not discovered in 1666. It was described in 1666. It's always existed. Second of all,
oh my God, when was it discovered? When was it discovered? When was it discovered?
All right, you keep talking over me. Don't do that.
Prayed in 1666.
Perihelion eclipses have nothing to do. Have no bearing on the globe model. They don't disprove.
Your opinion. No one cares about Glober's relative. Go ahead.
They're predicted